If you've been living in fear of the unknown and constantly trying to prepare for things that haven't even happened yet, I want to offer you a different way. If something happened recently that completely shifted how I relate to worries about the future and helped me start learning how to trust myself instead. So I'm in the middle of a huge life change right now. I just sold almost everything I own and moved out of my apartment in Tulsa to drive to Florida with my entire life packed in my car. Like literally everything, every valuable, every memory, every piece of who I used to be was stacked into that little Hyundai Elantra. And leading up to the trip, I was so nervous. My car is 15 years old. The drive was over 1,100 miles. And the thought that kept looping in my head was, what if it breaks down? I wasn't just worried about the hassle, but more so the helplessness of it all. I pictured being stranded and alone and having to leave everything I care about sitting in that car somewhere overnight. So my mom and I started saying this little mantra that we picked up from Mel Robbins. What if it all works out? And every time something I was worried about ended up working out, we'd say it again. Like when I thought nobody would buy all of my stuff in time, and then every single piece of furniture sold on Facebook Marketplace. Or when I was convinced that I wouldn't make much from selling my stuff, but somehow I made over $5,000. Or when I cleared out the entire apartment and packed up my car entirely by myself. Each time we'd laugh and say it again. What if it all works out? And little by little, I started to believe it. Maybe it really will all work out. At least until day 2 of the drive. I was about 2.5 hours from my parents' house when I stopped in a random town with a Publix because I needed a pub sub. If you know, you know. But when I turned my car back on, it made this awful screeching sound.
What is that?
It was so loud that people came over to ask if everything was okay. And in that moment, I thought, this is it. My fear just arrived. But here's what surprised me. I didn't cry. I didn't spiral. I didn't even freeze. I just started moving. I Googled mechanics near me, and all of them were closed because it was a Sunday. I called my mom, and we started running through backup plans. Do I stay overnight in a hotel or do I get a tow? And suddenly I realized I don't even know where I am. So my mom checked my location and told me the name of the town. And I remembered just the day before, a friend had told me that her daughter lived in this exact town. I texted my friend, and within 15 minutes, her daughter's fiance, and a friend came to meet me at Publix. They looked at the car and were able to actually figure out what the issue was and told me I should be good to finish the trip. And I exhaled for the first time in hours. My worst fear almost came true, but when the moment showed up, so did the version of me who could handle it. Not long after, I heard a podcast clip from Dr. Emily Onhold, a clinical psychologist, and what she shared put words to exactly what I had just experienced. She was talking about when her mom was in the hospital and things looked really bad. She said she kept spiraling and asking, what if she dies and what will I do? Until a family friend told her something she never forgot. The version of you who will handle that moment doesn't exist yet. That version will have more life experience, more context, and more ability than you do now. You have to trust your future self to handle future problems. That line stuck with me. You have to trust your future self to handle future problems. Because here's what I realized. We're so often trying to protect ourselves from the future by bracing for things that haven't even happened. We imagine worst case scenarios and assume we'd fall apart because we're trying to solve problems that don't exist yet with tools or knowledge that we don't have yet. But the truth is, you're not supposed to have all the answers yet. The version of you who will handle what comes next, they show up when the moment does. So if you're spinning about the future, if your brain is building disaster scenarios and trying to prepare every possible outcome, you don't need to have it all figured out right now. You just need to know you'll meet the moment you always have. And the version of you who can handle that hard thing, they may not be here yet, but they'll show up when it matters the most. So next week, I'm sharing a full video on overthinking and why it gets louder right before a big change, what it's really protecting you from, and the tools that will help you finally move forward. But for today, this is the piece I hope you carry with you. What if it all works out? And if it doesn't go as planned, what if the version of you who can handle it shows up right on time? You don't need to become your future self today. You just need to believe in them. Thanks so much for watching.